Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm and sunny afternoon. It is Wednesday, September 22nd. I'm back in the Read Nook with a handful of parcels and of course a nice hot cup of tea. And I've already opened one small parcel, so I'm going to continue with the small parcels. So this one has come from Middleton, all the way from I think Wisconsin, I think. So let's find out what is in here. And pulling this open, we have Our Vale of Discontent by Seth Traber and Frankie Stein. Start off, I do like the cover. That's really nice artwork on there. So rough little bookmark in there, and I can automatically say, okay, this is very nicely produced in terms of the printing quality and everything, but it's roughly cut. It's almost as if they have put this together. I suspect they put this together themselves, and there's no cover as such. It's all on the same paper quality. So this is basically takes place in the Vale. It's a fanzine style role-playing game. Welcome to Our Vale. This setting is the story of a place in turmoil. It has not spilled out into the open yet, but it's there, simmering. It will explode one way or another. How it does is up to you and the table. Essentially, each community section begins with the outline of the community's traits and important NPCs. There's an escalation path for each community, which constitutes the plot of events that will come before the players and allies within the Vale, to be used at your discretion. The major themes of Our Vale is community, power, violence, and how they intertwine. The setting aims to engage with how communities are built, how trauma affects those communities, and how a community can overcome that trauma to build something else. It's written for the Old School Renaissance, 5th edition, D20 system, fantasy systems. It basically, the language essentially means it's written. They've decided to written it in, so they say, a naturalistic language to basically help translation basically between those systems, or essentially from the page into the system of the table's choice. So it's essentially an OSR style role-playing game about community, basically using the retro clone of basically the choice of the players, essentially it takes you through the process of to give you the story so far. So it's fairly dense in terms of its text content. I mean, so for example, there's quite a lot there to read. It's essentially the referee is sort of handling the information, sort of asking questions to the players about the community, whether they like playing in that community or living in that community, and then exploring what they want to play and setting that up, and then building social network maps and mapping ancestry through an ancestral scribe, families and feelings, bonds and experience, with the tables for these here. Again, Reinforce it goes into discussion of community RPGs, basically about essentially because you are telling the story of the communities and the characters in it, but primarily the community itself. It's essentially it's more focused on that, right? In comparison, when you take something like Mutant Year Zero, where you have a community to begin with, and you are developing and building that. You do that a lot at the start, and then you tell its story. So we have a breakdown of the Dripok, one of the two cultures presented in the book. and then the pink. It's actually a nicely anodized, basically drupok for the sound of dripping water from stalactites. That's how they describe basically the name of the name of the community. And the other one is pink, P-I-N-G-K, for the sound of tinkling glass. That's a nice touch. Gives it a little bit of just feel. And we have a nice bit of illustration, basically just offsetting sort of like the text heavy content, and exploring the basic golden peak. This is the new pink city. And then we also have the click, the sound of reloading gun. They've done it again. So that's a nice feature. I like that. Farm and forest activism. Again, other sort of factions which I could become involved in, so on. And then tips for protesting in Our Vale. And it's interesting. Essentially, what one of the things you have here, the inference here, is it's almost like the coming of the Wild West, as it were, of the essentially the build. In this illustration, obviously, it's building the technology and across the land and claiming the land in the process. Basically taking it away from the community that has it, appropriating it, putting it to another use. Then we have another group, Froom, for the sound of the vacuum-powered ooze harvesters. And you see you have a group which actually it deals with oozes and mucks and that sort of thing. It's going to be interesting to dig into this. And then we have Meyer Industrial, named for its creator, Edmund Meyer, and then the facilities of the company. So yeah, that is Our Vale of Discontent. Basically a means to tell the story of a valley or vale, and its history over the course of the course of a sort of a conflict between various communities within that vale. So it feels a little roughly put together slightly, not in terms of its presentation on the page, but physically, with the pages. I'm sure it's actually probably not, but that's just on first impression. And then of course, I think that the roughness, if you can see, I think that's not helping where you've got the roughness of the cut down there. Essentially, it feels like the designers have sat at the table and printed this out on a printer, and definitely this, and cut it out and slipped it in, because essentially that's been scissor cut. Not something I normally see in a fanzine, but again, or even a really role-playing game, but essentially it points to sort of like the amateurish nature of the production of the fanzine or the role-playing game as a fanzine, whereas I actually look at this and the layout is really kind of nice and clean and tidy. It doesn't look unprofessional at all. It looks, I was basically going to say, it's not it is it's clean and tidy. It's about it's amateurish but well done. Okay. Whereas I think that clearly point is it is not. So that's Our Vale of Discontent. As I say, really nice artwork on the front, and the map on the back. It'll be interesting to dig into that at some point. Perhaps when I get around to doing the planned series of fanzines as role-playing games as fanzines strand I would like to do. So yeah, okay. So thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button down below. And if you've got any feedback or comments, I'll take the time to read those, and I appreciate you taking the time to post them. And lastly, of course, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a handful of parcels and game or a fanzine or a book that I will unbox, pull out, and talk to the best of my knowledge and the extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes, all accompanied, of course, by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching another unboxing in the book Nook, and I will be back again soon. Bye for now.